Okay. Take 3. Okay. So, please tell us what classes you're teaching this year.
So I'll be teaching U.S. History Social to juniors and the American Politics classes the first semester and the second semester. So the comparative world global politics aspect will be in there.
Okay. And then you're also an intern. Backstory, intern at C-SPAN.
Yeah. So I've had a great relationship with C-SPAN for the last 4 years. They're awesome. I can't say enough good stuff about them. My relationship with them began 4 years ago. I was their summer teacher fellow. They have a fellowship program through the education department. And then I became their senior fellow the second year, where I was doing more sort of writing content and curriculum that was using their video library, which is a great benefit of C-SPAN's website, and integrating it with stuff that teachers would want to teach and things that students would be interested in related to American government. And then I loved it so much there and enjoyed DC a lot and asked to come back, but in their programming department, which is actually where they shoot their television shows and do their other programs. And they said yes, and they knew that I had a real interest in specifically the federal court systems, and so I got to spend 4 weeks interning for their executive producer who covers the Supreme Court. And then this past summer, I went back in the same capacity because I loved it last summer and was the Supreme Court reporter, officially as an intern, but I did have the press pass and the access inside the court, right up close with all the other journalists who are covering for the major networks like the New York Times, Washington Post, Thomson Reuters. All of them were up there too with me. So yeah, it was a great experience.
And I know you taught AP Gov.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you think this honors politics is going to differ from how you taught AP Gov?
Well, that's a great question because I've been thinking about that myself. There's an incredible pressure and pace that AP Government requires because of usually the structure. The course is typically only a semester long, and we have a bit more wiggle room and flexibility, even though it's not necessarily the flow from first to second semester isn't necessarily going to be the same. Which is to say, if you weren't there for the first semester and you were there for the second semester, it's not like you're missing so much, but. It will be a much slower pace. I think there'll be more experiences like project-based learning, simulations, and a bit more integration of technology, which is kind of my other area of interest, so that we can, really immerse ourselves in some of these like civic experiences that are out there for us. There's also a lot of focus in the AP Government courses on issues like bureaucracy, which can be really tough to make fun and interesting, that we won't need to spend as much time on that you would in a traditional AP Gov class.
So, like you said, are you thinking about doing more project-based? So, less tests and quizzes and more projects and like lectures?
Well, certainly all those things that you just said will come up at some point in the class. We can't avoid, you can't really jump into a simulation until you have a whole lot of foundation and background on what exactly it is that we're going to be simulating or kind of walking through. So we will there'll be readings, there'll probably be like reading quizzes or something related to the reading, just so that I can make sure that like people are not just doing the reading but understanding what they read. There'll be a bit more, I think, like I'm more interested in what the students have to say to each other and how they react to what they're hearing and learning, than I am about assessing and making sure you understand, what exactly the 14th Amendment said to the letter. So we'll get into a whole lot of different things over the course of the semester and year.
And I know you were a history major. Was that like specifically American history? Or?
It didn't start off that way. It was originally kind of interwar Europe, but then I took a class with a professor that I just loved in college, and I wanted to take more of his classes. And I had always had an interest in politics. I did everything student government when I was in high school, and I did mock trial when I was in college, and thought I was going to go to law school. And so the politic part. Or poli-sci part kind of came through in the history courses that I took in college, and then sort of took off from there.
And why did you decide to go into education?
I was in the corporate world for about 5 years and just wasn't, I was really jealous of my friends who were teachers. My roommate was a teacher, and my then boyfriend, now husband, was a teacher. And I was just so jealous of like the stories they were coming home with and the things that they were showing me that they were doing with their students or that their students had done. And I was like, God, like I just I couldn't take it anymore. I knew when I was a history major that I would probably go back and do the education part, but it was going to mean getting a master's degree, which was going to mean more school, and I needed to get a job and get to work. So I always thought, don't do it. You shouldn't become a teacher unless you really want to do it. So I gave myself some time to figure out I really wanted to do it. Is it not working?
No, it is.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You have a question?
Yeah. What are the chances of a Miss Gallagher 2028 presidential campaign?
Impossible.
Impossible?
Yeah, it's impossible for a number of reasons. Mostly the fact that I just do not have the name, reputation, or relationship to anyone who can sort of get me in that role. But that's what I'm hoping to do, is get one of you guys.
Good,
2028.
I'm ready for 2036. Will Valley. You heard it here first.
Well, we'll do our best to get you there. At least understand how to get you there.
Okay.
Okay. Fun fact about yourself.
Fun fact about myself, I'm left-handed, which
Okay.
sometimes people think is a weird thing. I own a pit bull, and I grew up in South Carolina, actually. So when I teach my U.S. class, and even in the government and politics class, my Southern and Northern, backgrounds can kind of come together, and you'll see the you'll see the battle in me, the juxtaposition in me at times, because of those two sort of worlds that I grew up in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
How do I end this?
God, the look on your face, I was like, wait, did it stop working again?
No, I thought of a great question for you.